everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Dead Rabbit Radio. I'm your host, Jason Carpenter. I'm having a great day. I hope you're having a great day too. We actually got a lot of stuff to talk about today, so we're going to go ahead and jump into it. Now, it is October, and I was bemoaning the fact during World War II Never Existed, that episode, that I haven't been talking a lot about ghosts in October. So I think I'm going to squeeze a ghost story in here, because there's so many. There's so many ghost stories. This one I thought was particularly gruesome, and I think it's a good way to, it's like a week till Halloween at this point. It's like 6 days. So let's go ahead and squeeze one in. Now, this one is generally known as the bump in the carpet. So we're going back in time to the 1900s. Well, specifically 1900, that year. And this takes place in a town called Dark Harbor, Maine, which is a real place. I don't know why they would name that. Don't think they'd get a lot of visitors or people who'd want to move there. I don't really understand the appeal of living anywhere by the water. It's spooky, especially at night. But anyway, so there was this dude named Slathiel Stoner. And I will say this, when you try researching anything with the word stoner in it, everything is just a weed joke, especially if you're looking for stoner ghost or stoner house. I was getting all sorts of nonsense. But anyway, so Slathiel Stoner lived in Maine, and he was pretty well off. And he hooked up with this young girl, not like criminally young, but younger than him. And they fell in love, but it was that really they weren't really in love. Like, they got together for whatever reason, and they were constantly fighting. Now, she was raised in kind of a different household where everything was really nice. And he just had like a basic house, and the he had wood floors. Now, they fought all the time. But the biggest thing they fought over was the fact that the floors were wood and her feet were cold all the time. Now, it is the 1900s. They didn't have heaters. They had like fireplaces and stuff, but it's not like you have central heating. So she was they fought over everything, but this was a sticking point. She's like, "Why don't you put a rug in the foyer? I want a rug. And he's like, "Oh, I'm a fisherman. Like, I'm not a rug merchant." But anyways, they fought all the time over this. So anyways, after a couple of years of this, he's like, you know what, whatever. He was out doing fish stuff, and he came across the market, and they were selling rugs. And he's like, you know what, I'm just gonna, happy wife, happy life. He went and he got a nice rug, and he goes, my wife will like this. And he took it home, and he was nailing it into the floor, which I guess is something you do with rugs. I don't know. Like, I always thought they just, laid there. I've never had, I've either moved into places that already have carpeting, or I just buy a bunch of throw rugs and just throw them on top of each other. But he's nailing the rug into the floor, and she walks in and she sees it. And instead of being like, oh, that's so sweet, he compromised, finally, she just flips out on him. And then she says, I hate that rug like I hate you. He then uses the hammer to just beat her to death. He's totally done. And he throws her body under the rug. Trust me, a ghost is showing up. It's not just a gruesome domestic violence story. He beats her to death with a hammer and throws her under the rug and then nails the rug down on top of her. But she actually wasn't dead yet. She was alive for 2 days underneath the carpet. Just moving around. She's weakened. She can't break through the nails or rip through the carpet or anything. Sure, carpets back then were pretty well made because they were expensive and handmade, probably. But so she's wriggling under the carpet, and he's just doing, fisherman stuff. And then one of his buddies comes over to visit, and he's like, hey, Slathin, what's up, dude? Hey, we're going to play cards, dude. We're going to, hang out in front of the fireplace and tell stories. And he realizes there's this giant lump, a woman-sized lump under the foyer carpet. And so the friend removes the carpet and finds the body. And Slathin, I know I've pronounced his name differently each time. His name's actually Slathiel. But anyway, so Slathiel was just whatever. He was taken to a mental hospital. To this day, if you put a carpet in that house, it will start to bunch up like there's a lump in the middle of it. And blood stains will appear on your carpet. That's the story of the bump in the carpet. Now, I read that scary story years ago in my favorite book, National Directory of Haunted Places. I'll have the link below because it's just a great encyclopedia of haunted stories. Now, when I read it back then, I was like, oh my god, that's so scary. As I've gotten older, I realized there's several problems with the story. One, it's not true. I guess that's the biggest problem. When you make a statement that every time you put a carpet down, it now bunches up and bloodstains appear, your first thing as a paranormal investigator or a debunker, a skeptic would say, well, I will buy a carpet and we will go out there and do that. But it's never been like, if it always does it, we've never seen any photos of it. We've never seen any videotape of it. I tried looking up Slothiel Stoner. I couldn't find any record that this guy existed. If I have any, I do have listeners out in Maine. If you guys live near Dark Harbor or live in Dark Harbor for whatever reason, I imagine it's spooky. I imagine there's crows everywhere on dead trees. But if you can find some proof that this guy existed, that would be awesome. But I can't find that this guy ever existed. I can't find any proof that the murder actually took place, let alone that anyone has tried to replicate something that supposedly always happens. However, I think it's a good spooky story, and that's why I wanted to share it with you guys 6 days before Halloween. I like spooky stories, but I also like kind of trying to figure out whether or not they're actually true. I think it's still fun. It's a still fun story. That was a clip from our daily podcast, Dead Rabbit Radio. Dead Rabbit Radio is available anywhere that you listen to podcasts. It's daily paranormal, conspiracy, and true crime news. If you want to hear the full episode that this clip came from, check the link below. Please like and subscribe. And hit that little bell, too. That does some magical stuff. Thanks, guys.